What does it feel like to be the punchline of your own family's laughter? To stand on the edge of their gilded world? Knowing a secret that could shatter their smug certainty I'm about to find out. My name is Stella Hargrove, 35. And 2 months ago, I was the principal software architect at Stratastech, a rising star in Chicago's tech scene. Tonight, I'm the cautionary tale at the Harrow family reunion, a yearly spectacle of wealth and one-upmanship in my uncle's palatial backyard. The air hums with the clink of crystal glasses and the murmur of success stories. But all eyes skirt me. The woman who dared to fall. The koi pond glimmers under string lights, its surface rippling as I swirl my untouched sparkling cider. My cousins dominate the evening, their voices sharp with triumph. Jessica, newly minted partner at a top law firm, recounts a courtroom victory with a practiced smile, her words slicing through the crowd's murmurs. Evan, her brother, a venture capitalist, holds court near the marble fountain, boasting of a $200 million acquisition he brokered. His laughter loud enough to turn heads. Trevor, younger and brasher, lounges by the catered spread, tossing out quips about his startup's latest funding round. They're a polished trio, basking in the family's approval, while I'm the shadow they avoid until they can't resist a jab. Stella, Evan's voice cuts through the chatter, dripping with false warmth, loud enough to draw smirks. Come join us. We're talking career pivots. His grin is a blade, honed over years of watching me toil in code while he schmoozed investors. I step forward, feeling the weight of every gaze, the whispers of poor Stella rustling like dry leaves. Jessica tilts her head, her smile saccharine. How's unemployment treating you? I heard Stratstech cut you loose in a budget downsizing. Tech's so unstable. Isn't it? The word unstable lands like a barb. And Trevor snickers, his youthful arrogance practically glowing. I let their words hang, my fingers brushing the phone in my pocket. It's 5:57 p.m. Central Time. And something is stirring in the digital ether, a truth they can't imagine. I've spent years building, not boasting, crafting solutions while they chase titles. Evan leans in, his voice mock kind. You know, real innovation is about foresight. Stella, maybe coding's better left to the kids. The crowd chuckles, but I hold his gaze, my lips curving faintly. They think they've won, that I'm broken, discarded. They don't know what's coming. My phone vibrates softly, a silent pulse against my palm. I glance at the screen, 5:58 p.m., 2 minutes until the world shifts. I take a slow sip of cider, the bubbles sharp on my tongue, and let the moment, the family's laughter echoes. But it's hollow, fragile. Somewhere in Stratstech's sleek servers, a clock is ticking. I've been underestimated before, but tonight, I'm not just Stella, the failed coder. I'm the architect of a reckoning, and the stage is set for a truth they won't escape. 4 years ago, in a cramped Chicago apartment lit by the glow of my monitor, I began a project that would redefine my life. While Stratastech's executives chased quarterly profits, I poured my nights into Sentinel, an adaptive AI security platform designed to outthink cyber threats in real time. I was 31 then, a principal software architect who believed code could be more than a paycheck. It could be a legacy. Sentinel wasn't just software, it was a vision of resilience, a system that learned faster, defended smarter, and grew stronger with every attack. Line by line, I built it on my laptop, my dime, away from Stratstech's prying eyes. The tech world was obsessed with flashy apps and cheap scalability. But I saw a different future. Cyber attacks were evolving, outpacing human defenders. And I wanted Sentinel to be the shield no hacker could breach. Its algorithms could predict threats before they struck, adapting to new patterns with a precision that felt almost alive. I tested each module in my spare hours, refining firewalls, embedding redundancies, my coffee mugs piling up as dawn broke over Lake Michigan. But I wasn't naive. I'd seen developers betrayed, their work swallowed by corporate greed. So I wove a failsafe into Sentinel's core, a verification protocol, invisible, dormant, set to activate only if someone tried to claim my creation. 2 months ago, that foresight proved its worth. Sterling Cross, StripesTech's new CEO, summoned me to his glass-walled office, his eyes barely lifting from his emails. "Stella," he said, voice flat. "We're pivoting. The board wants consumer-focused apps. Your security project's canceled." I started to explain Sentinel's potential, its ability to protect entire networks, its unmatched adaptability. He cut me off with a wave. "We've sold the code to a private defense group. You're being let go." The words landed like a blow, but I saw them coming. I'd coded for this moment from the first line. The next day, headlines blared, StripesTech secures $1, $2 billion defense contract with breakthrough AI technology. My life's work. Sold without a nod to me. I signed their airtight NDA. My signature steady. Because I knew something Sterling didn't. Sentinel wasn't just code. It was a witness. Programmed to expose theft. I'd developed it independently. Outside company hours. On my equipment. To use StripesTech's servers for testing. I'd secured Sterling's written approval and email. Time-stamped and signed. Granting permission without claiming ownership. That email was my shield. Preserving my rights. I also held 17 patents, filed quietly over the years, covering every critical piece of Sentinel's architecture. Each one was a brick in the fortress I'd built, ensuring no one could steal what I'd created. When Sterling sold Sentinel, he triggered the failsafe, a digital trap that recorded every false claim, every attempt to erase my name. It lay dormant, waiting for the perfect moment. An automated system update set for tonight, 6:00 p.m. Central Time. When StripesTech's servers would broadcast the truth to the world. Back then, as I coded alone, I wasn't thinking of revenge. I was thinking of every developer who'd lost their work to a suit's ego. Every idea buried under an NDA. Sentinel was my answer. Not just to hackers, but to a system that rewarded theft over creation. I poured 5 years into it every night, every weekend, every quiet moment when the world slept. While Sterling posed at tech conferences, I debugged algorithms. While Evan brokered deals, I fortified firewalls. My apartment became a sanctuary of code, its walls echoing with the hum of my determination. Now, standing in my uncle's backyard, the weight of those years feels light. My phone is silent, but I know what's coming. The family's laughter. Their taunts are just noise. Sentinel is my voice, and it's about to speak louder than they can imagine. I've protected what I built, not with bravado, but with patience, with strategy. The clock is ticking, and I'm ready to show them what a builder can do. Have you ever stood in a crowd, their laughter a cage, and felt the precise moment the world tilts in your favor? That's where I am now. 5:58 p.m. Central Time. The Chicago sunset painting my uncle's backyard in amber. Evan's smirk gleams as he leans forward, his voice a velvet taunt. "Stella, coding's a young man's game. Why not try something steadier?" The family chuckles, their eyes glinting with pity. But I feel a spark of certainty. My phone hums in my pocket, a quiet herald of what's coming. I've waited years for this. And the countdown is nearly over. Jessica sips her cider. Her lawyer's poise unshaken. Any job offers yet? "Stella, I hear diners need dishwashers." Trevor snorts, tossing a shrimp skewer onto his plate. His confidence a mirror of Evan's. The crowd's attention tightens, waiting for me to crumble. Instead, I smile, slow and deliberate, my voice cutting through the evening's hum. Why don't we all pull out our phones? The next few minutes might get interesting. Jessica's eyes narrow. Evan laughs a brittle sound and Trevor scoffs. What? Another failed app launch. Their dismissals are a chorus. But I'm the conductor now. I glance at my watch, 5:59 p.m., 1 minute until Sentinel's failsafe. Buried deep in StripesTech servers. Springs to life. I've orchestrated this moment with precision. Every line of code a thread in a tapestry of truth. The family's phones rest in their hands. Screens dark. Unaware of the storm about to break, I take a step closer to Evan. My voice steady. You talk about foresight. Evan, let's see who's got it. His grin falters. A flicker of doubt crossing his face. Then it happens 6 sunrows or p.m. sharp. My phone buzzes first. A single vibration that feels like a heartbeat. Then Jessica's. Evan's. Trevor's. And a ripple of dings cascades across the yard. Like pebbles striking a still pond, screens light up with breaking news banners. Their red alerts searing the dusk. Stratistech stock halted amid code ownership scandal. One reads, another Department of Defense suspends $1, $2 billion contract pending investigation. Gasps punctuate the air. Evan's fingers freeze mid-swipe. His face paling. Jessica's glass trembles. Cider sloshing onto her silk dress. Trevor barks. What the hell is this? I set my drink on a stone table. The clink loud in the sudden hush. Oh, just a tiny system update, I say. My tone light but edged with steel. The family's eyes lock on me. Their smugness unraveling. Aunt Meredith clutches her pearls. Her phone flashing another alert. Exclusive Strat-Stech engineer behind Sentinel's core development. Evan's voice is a whisper now. Stripped of its swagger. Stella, what did you do? I meet his gaze. Unyielding. The truth is out. And it's rewriting their narrative. Phones keep buzzing. Each notification a hammer striking their certainty. I stand at the center of their stunned silence. The backyard's opulence fading against the weight of this moment. Sentinel has spoken. Its verification protocol broadcasting my name across the digital world. I've turned their laughter into a footnote. And the real story is just beginning. As the skyline glitters beyond the hedges, I know Strat-Stech's towers are trembling. And I'm ready to show them why you never underestimate a builder. The backyard is a frozen tableau. My family's faces caught between shock and dread as their phones pulse with revelations. I pull my battered laptop from my bag. Its worn key is a testament to years of unseen work. Want to see, I ask. My voice calm but resonant. Carrying over the murmurs, they crowd around. Silent now. Their earlier taunts swallowed by the truth unfolding. I log into a secure feed, and Sentinel's verification protocol fills the screen. A cascade of code dates. Signatures. Embedded markers, each line a brick in the monument of my creation. This, I say, pointing to the scrolling data, is 5 years, 2 months, and 19 days of my life. The timestamps glow, tracing every keystroke back to me. Undeniable proof that Sentinel is mine. I click another window, revealing Sterling Cross's email, digitally signed, permitting me to test Sentinel on Stratistech's servers. They didn't own it. I explain. My words measured. I built Sentinel on my own time. My gear. This email ensured my rights. Evan leans closer, his breath catching as the scope dawns. Jessica's lawyer instincts flicker, but she's speechless. Swiping frantically through news alerts, I open a folder, 17 patent certificates, each bearing my name, covering Sentinel's algorithms and protocols. When Sterling sold my work for $1, $2 billion, he triggered the failsafe. I continue. It recorded every lie, every attempt to erase me, waiting for tonight's update to expose him. Trevor's voice cracks. But they fired you. They owned your code. Right? I shake my head, a faint smile tugging at my lips. Wrong. They sold something they didn't understand. And now the world knows. Aunt Meredith gasps as her phone buzzes again. Strat-Stech faces. Federal investigation over code ownership scandal. Evan's eyes widen. The venture capitalist calculating the fallout. The billion-dollar contract. He mutters, "It's built on stolen tech." I nod, sipping my cider. It's chill grounding me. Fraud's bad for business. Their stock's going to crater when markets open. Trevor stares at his screen, disbelief etching his features. This is insane, he whispers, his bravado gone. I close my laptop, the click echoing in the hush. while Sterling posed for photos and your investments chased hype. Evan, I was building something real. Every night. Every debugged line. Every patent filed in secret, that's what innovation looks like. Jessica's fingers hover over her phone. A new alert flashing, straight stack CEO under scrutiny for IP theft. She meets my gaze. Her poise crumbling. You planned this, she says. Almost admiringly, I shrug. Letting the moment settle, I protected what's mine. The family's world. Once so polished. Frays at the edges. Their laughter. Their titles. Their certainty all dwarfed by the truth I've unleashed. Beyond the backyard. Chicago's skyline pulses. A silent witness to StratStack's unraveling. My phone vibrates again. Sterling's name flashing. I decline the call without a glance. My focus on the faces before me. They underestimated me. But Sentinel's code is my voice. And it's louder than their scorn. As the alerts keep coming, I know this is just the beginning, a reckoning for those who steal from builders, and a beacon for those who dare to create. Can a single moment rewrite an industry's rules, topple giants, and lift the silence to the forefront as the Chicago night deepens? My family's stunned silence tells me it can. My laptop is closed, but the backyard hums with the aftershocks of Sentinel's truth. Phones buzz relentlessly. Each alert a crack in StratStack's facade. I stand under the string lights, their glow casting long shadows, and feel the weight of a world shifting. The news banners keep coming. StratStack CEO faces criminal probe. Investors pull funding, and I know Sterling Cross is staring at the ruins of his ambition. His glass-walled office, no match for the code I crafted. My phone vibrates with a new message. Not from Sterling, but from Sarah Martinez, Oracle's CEO. Impressive authentication protocol. Dinner next week to discuss Sentinel's potential. I tilt the screen toward Evan, whose eyes widen, his venture capitalist instincts grasping the shift. Oracle, he mutters, his voice tight. I nod, letting the moment sink in. The family's polished image frays further as Jessica's phone flashes another alert. Google launches code attribution review. Her law firm, caught in the ripple, demands she step down pending investigation. She looks at me, her earlier smugness replaced by a flicker of respect. You've changed everything, she whispers. Trevor, usually brash, scrolls through headlines in silence. His illusion of easy success crumbling. StratStack, bankruptcy looms. One reads, and he shakes his head, muttering, their stock's done. Aunt Meredith fumbles with her phone, coordinating with PR to salvage the family's reputation. But the damage is done. My phone lights up again. Reporters, lawyers, investors, all clamoring for a piece of the story. I ignore them, my gaze drifting to the skyline, where StratStack's headquarters flicker, their lights dimming under the weight of truth. Then, a familiar voice breaks through. Stella Jimmy Chen, a junior developer from StratStack, steps from the shadows. His grin wide, he holds up his phone, showing a sleek website, the Sentinel Protocol. After your code exposed Cross, we started this. He says, eyes alight. Developers worldwide are sharing stories, stolen work. Erased credits, we're demanding recognition. I scroll through the site, seeing hundreds of voices, each a thread in a growing rebellion. A coder in Seattle. Her app was claimed by her boss. A team in Austin. It's AI buried under NDAs. You inspired this, Jimmy adds. And I feel a surge of pride. Not just for me, but for every builder who's been overlooked. The family watches, their world of titles and investments dwarfed by this movement. Evan's phone rings a panicked investor. No doubt, but he doesn't answer. His gaze fixed on me. Why wait? He asks. Voice raw. Why let them fire you? I pause. The question echoing every developer's stolen dream. Because truth needs witnesses, I say. And sometimes, the loudest justice is the one you build quietly. Jimmy nods, his phone buzzing with new posts on the Sentinel Protocol. Each one a spark in a fire I've ignited. As the night settles, Chicago's pulse feels different, alive with possibility. Stratostech's collapse is just the start. The industry is waking up, and I'm at its center. Sarah's email glows on my screen. A promise of what's next. I slip my phone into my pocket, the weight of this moment grounding me. The family's laughter is a distant memory, replaced by a chorus of builders demanding their due. I've turned code into a revolution, and the world is listening. 1 month later, I sit in Oracle's glass-walled boardroom. The Chicago skyline, a glittering backdrop. Sarah Martinez addresses the board, her voice steady as she gestures to a screen where Sentinel dances, defending Oracle's global network in real time. In 4 weeks, she says, Sentinel neutralized 200 cyber attacks, adapted to 19 new threat models, and slashed response time by 87%. Board members, once skeptical, lean forward. Their nods a quiet applause. One asks, "You built this alone?" I smile. The memory of late nights and solitary debugging. Vivid nights, weekends. My equipment, not a line, belongs to Stratostech. Sarah turns to me, her eyes bright. Shall we make it official? The board's vote is unanimous. And by evening, the news hits: Oracle acquires Sentinel for $4, $2 billion. Names engineer as CTO. I'll oversee Sentinel's integration. My vision now shielding networks worldwide. My phone hasn't stopped buzzing since the scandal broke. Journalists want interviews. Congressional committees seek testimony on IP theft. But the messages that matter most come from developers. Hundreds share stories of stolen ideas. Their words a tide of defiance. Sentinel isn't just code. It's a symbol. A quiet rebellion against an industry that too often buries its builders. Back in the city, I pass Stratostech's darkened headquarters. Its windows like empty eyes. Bankruptcy proceedings choke its halls. And Sterling's name is a cautionary tale. Yet amid the rubble, something grows. Jimmy's Sentinel protocol has swelled. A global network of coders documenting their work, exposing theft, and demanding respect. I've pledged Oracle's ethics board to support it, amplifying a movement that's rewriting tech's rules, new standards for code attribution, stronger protections for creators. My family, too, has shifted. Evan calls one evening, his voice strained. My firm's bleeding investors. He admits, I didn't see what builders like you do. I offer to connect his engineers to Oracle's expanding team. A lifeline for those he once overlooked. Jessica texts. Her words raw. Real power isn't taking credit. It's creating something that matters. She's navigating her firm's fallout. But her perspective has changed. Rooted in respect for creation. Trevor, once all bravado, messages me. Starting coding classes? Mentor me, I want to build something real. I reply. Lesson 1. Success is in the work, not the spotlight. Next week, I'll testify before Congress. My voice carrying the weight of every developer who's been erased. But tonight, I'm home. My old laptop open. Its familiar hum a comfort. Sentinel now guards critical systems, thwarting thousands of attacks. But its true impact is the awakening it sparked. I open a new project file, and the cursor is blinking like a star. The Chicago skyline shimmers outside, a canvas of possibility. I'm no longer the woman they laughed at. I'm a change maker, proving that power lies in what you build, not what you claim. This isn't just my story, it's yours. 2. If you've ever been underestimated, your work stolen, your voice ignored, I see you. The creators grinding through late nights, the builders whose ideas fuel the future. Share your story below. Have you fought for your work? Prove them wrong. Let's make a space where builders are seen, heard, and respected. Protect what you create. Stay patient, strategic, and true to your craft. The world may not see your worth at first, but real value shines in time. We are the makers, turning dreams into reality. Don't let anyone steal that. If you believe in a future where creators are valued, comment, and subscribe. Your voice matters. Let's build something better Together, as I type the first line of my new project, the city hums beyond my window, alive with the promise of what's next. Every line of code tells a story. Mine rewrote the rules, and yours can too. They never asked me what I wanted. Not once. They just assumed I'd open my door, my wallet, my life. Like a vending machine that never runs out of favors. I'm Camilla, 32, a senior accountant in Chicago's Loop, living in a 1,000 square foot condo with a sliver of Lake Michigan view, pieced together with thrift store furniture I sanded and stained myself. My life is quiet, deliberate, like a spreadsheet balanced to the penny, but to my family. I'm not a person, I'm a function, a safety net for their chaos. My older sister, Erin, 30, has a talent for turning failure into tragedy, and my parents, Carol and Frank, have a talent for making me clean it up. I used to think it was love. Now I know it's leverage. I wasn't always this way. Sharp-edged and guarded, growing up in a Naperville split level. I was the kid who organized the pantry at 10 while Erin painted messy watercolors that Mom taped to the fridge. I balanced the family checkbook when Dad's hours got cut. My pencil scratching through their worry, they called me responsible, reliable, but never asked how I felt. Erin's tantrums got hugs, my silence got a pat on the head. By high school, I knew my role, the fixer. The one who didn't break. I studied accounting at DePaul, graduated with a 3.8 and landed a job at a firm nobody's heard of. Crunching numbers in a cubicle under fluorescent lights. I saved for my condo, a corner unit in Logan Square, bought without a cosigner. Every nail I hammered into those walls felt like a promise to myself, this is mine. Erin. Though, she's a different story. 2 years older, she's always 5 steps behind. She lost her first job at a Wicker Park cafe, said the manager was toxic. Her next gig, a retail job in Lincoln Park, ended when she forgot to show up. Evictions followed, each apartment messier than the last. Roommates jealous of her charm. Bills piled up. But Erin's always trying her best. Mom and Dad never question it. They pivot, plead, and turn to me. You're stable. Camilla, Mom would say, her voice soft as a trap. You're lucky you can help. Lucky. That word stung worse than the $500 Erin borrowed for a music festival. Never repaid. Or the late-night calls when she needed gas money 10 miles from home. At 24, I co-signed her car loan, a used Honda, because she swore this job, a receptionist gig, would stick. 3 weeks later, she quit, and the payment stopped. My credit score, pristine at 750, took the hit, a 100-point drop that felt like a betrayal. I rebuilt it, month by month, while Erin moved back home. Her stuff cluttering Mom and Dad's garage. At 26, Mom called, voice shaky, saying the mortgage was past due Dad's layoff. Erin's emergencies. I wired $2,000 the next day. My savings gutted. No one thanked me. That Christmas, they gave me a mug, World's Best Daughter. I almost laughed. At 28, Erin got a DUI, her first we knew of. After swerving through a Bucktown intersection, Dad begged me to keep it quiet, family reputation. He said, I paid $3,000 for her lawyer. My bonus gone. Erin never mentioned it. When she got pulled over again a year later, I said no. Mom called me cold. Said I didn't understand worrying for someone I loved. Erin's life is harder than yours. She snapped. That's when I knew. They didn't see me. They saw a faucet, always dripping when they needed it. I started pulling back. Polite but firm. I'll think about it, I'd say. Dodging their requests. They noticed their voices were sharper, their guilt heavier. One night, alone in my condo, I stared at my front door, its deadbolt gleaming. It wasn't mine, not really. When they needed something, it was ours. Like my time, my money, my peace. I called a realtor the next week, sold the place quietly, no fanfare. I moved to a 900 square foot rental in Wicker Park, 5 miles away, with creaky floors and a fire escape view of a taco truck. I didn't tell them, not out of spite, but survival in my family. Love came with strings, and I was tired of being tangled. They thought I'd always say yes. They were wrong, and Sunday dinner was about to prove it. Sunday dinners in Naperville had a rhythm, like a song stuck on repeat. The same green bean casserole, the same chipped oak table, the same undercurrent of pressure wrapped in politeness. I drove 20 miles from Wicker Park, the Chicago skyline fading in my rear view, knowing something was brewing. Mom greeted me at the door, her smile too wide, like she was selling something. "You're so thin." "Camilla," she said, her eyes scanning me like a barcode. "Are you eating?" Dad nodded, distracted, muttering, "Hey, kiddo." His gaze on the Bears game flickering in the living room. Erin slouched at the table, scrolling her phone, her chipped nail polish a clue she hadn't worked in weeks. I sat, the air thick with unspoken plans. We made it through the salad, Mom praising the crisp September weather like it deserved a medal. Dad refilled his glass, the clink of ice louder than his words. Erin picked at her food, her fork scraping the plate like it might fight back. I knew the signs. Mom's sweetness, Dad's silence. Erin's avoidance they were circling, waiting to drop their request. I sipped my water, counting the seconds. Then Mom set down her fork, folded her hands, and gave me that practice smile, the one she used for guilt-dipped favors. "Camilla," she began, voice soft as a lullaby. "We've been talking. Erin's had a rough patch, and, well, she's going to move in with you for a bit, just until she's back on her feet." It landed like a brick through a window. No question, no discussion, just a decision, served with casserole and a size of expectation. I looked at Erin. She glanced up, then away, like a kid caught cheating on a test. Dad cleared his throat, bracing for my pushback. Mom's eyes locked on mine, daring me to be the selfish one. The room held its breath. I could have argued. Listed every dollar I'd paid, every night I'd lost to their messes. Instead, I smiled, light as a breeze. "Of course," I said, "if it helps Erin, I don't see why not." The silence was sharp, a knife through their tension. Mom blinked, caught off guard. Dad exhaled, like he'd dodged a tackle. Erin leaned back, a smug curl to her lips, like she'd won a bet. They thought I'd caved, same old Camilla, reliable as a sunrise. They didn't notice my stillness, the way my hands stayed calm in my lap. They didn't ask where I lived, didn't know I'd sold my Wowan 200 square foot condo weeks ago, trading it for a rental they'd never see. I'd moved 5 miles across Chicago, my new address a secret I hadn't shared. They thought they'd scripted my life, but I'd rewritten the ending. As Mom chattered about moving logistics, her voice a blur, I sipped my water, tasting freedom. They'd planned an invasion, but they were marching to the wrong door. The drive back to Wicker Park after dinner felt like shedding a costume. Chicago's skyline glittered, a constellation of glass and steel. But my new rental, a 900 square foot walk-up with a fire escape overlooking a neon-lit taco truck, felt like the first place I could breathe. I'd sold my Logan Square condo 3 weeks earlier, a decision that wasn't sudden but carved from years of erosion, sitting in my old place one night. I'd traced the cracks in my life every knock on my door, every call from Mom, every emergency that wasn't mine. The condo, with its polished floors and lake view windows, had become a stage for their demands. So I met a realtor at a Starbucks on Diversey, signed papers over a $4 latte, and watched my signature dissolve their claim on me. The sale was quick, quiet, like closing a book I'd never liked reading. My new apartment was different, smaller, raw. Mine, The walls were bare. No family photos. Just a thrift store mirror and a potted fern I hadn't killed yet. I'd chosen it for the distance, 5 miles from my old life, and the anonymity of a street where nobody knew my name. That Sunday night, I sat on my couch, a $50 Craigslist find, sipping chamomile tea, the steam curling like a secret. My phone buzzed. Mom's first text. "We'll bring Erin's mattress Saturday." She's excited I didn't reply. Another came from Dad loading boxes Friday night. "Let us know if you need help." I let it sit, unanswered, like a stone dropped in a pond. Their words assumed I'd clear space, rearrange my days, and absorb Erin's chaos without a ripple. They'd done it before, but this time, I wasn't listening. I thought about the last time I'd tried to say no. 2 years ago, when Erin wanted to crash for a month, she'd called me a boring robot in a text, laughing it off. But it cut deep. A reminder I was only as good as my yeses. I'd spent that night in my old condo, tallying every favor the $200 for her phone bill. The weekend, I drove 30 miles to pick her up from a bar. The hours I'd spent justifying their love. It wasn't anger that pushed me to sell, it was clarity. I deserved a door I could lock without guilt. So I'd moved, told no one, and let the realtor handle the rest. My new lease, signed in black ink, was my first rebellion. Quiet as a whisper, but heavy as iron. By Tuesday, Mom's texts grew insistent, Camilla. "Do you need the place cleaned before Erin moves in Wednesday?" Another, "She's bringing her dishes. Won't be a burden." I laughed into my coffee, picturing Erin's unwashed plates stacked in her last apartment, a health hazard in Bucktown. I didn't correct them, didn't hint at the truth. I let their plans stack like cards, waiting for the table to tilt. Thursday night, I walked the Chicago River, the water reflecting streetlights like scattered coins. My phone vibrated Mom again, confirming Saturday's move. I slipped it into my pocket, untouched. I wasn't cruel, just doing my weight, my morning jogs, my quiet evenings with a book, my audits under the Loop's fluorescent hum. These were mine now, and I wouldn't trade them for their approval. Friday, I worked late, spreadsheets glowing on my screen, numbers aligning where my family never did. A coworker asked about my weekend. I shrugged, said I had plans. I didn't mention the storm brewing 5 miles away. Hannah's eyes widened. "You're not serious," she said. But I'd already decided to let them show up at a door that wasn't mine. Saturday morning, I'd be elsewhere, sipping coffee, letting a stranger answer their knock. They'd built their castle on my back, but I'd slipped out the gate, and the drawbridge was up. Saturday morning, I woke to the hum of Wicker Park waking up. The taco truck outside my window hissed, sending cumin-scented steam into the dawn. I didn't check my phone. Didn't need to. I knew they'd be at the Logan Square condo by 9 a.m. Erin's mattress strapped to Dad's SUV, Mom clutching her purse like a shield. I pulled on sneakers and jogged to Lincoln Park's farmers market, 3 miles away. The city pulsing under a crisp September sky. Stalls overflowed with apples, pumpkins, and a $3 loaf of sourdough I bought just to hold something real. My phone buzzed once, twice, 3 times. I let it hum, a wasp trapped in my pocket. The 4th call broke through as I stood by a honey vendor, the lake shimmering in the distance. Camilla Mom's voice was brittle, panic slicing through. "What's going on?" "There's a man here, says he lives in your condo, says you don't live here." I let the silence stretch, picturing them on the porch, bags at their feet, the new tenant a stranger in flannel blinking at their confusion. "Camilla, answer me." I sipped my coffee, the paper cup warm against my palm. "I sold it," I said. Voice even. "Weeks ago. I moved out. Didn't think it mattered you never asked where I lived." The line crackled with their shock. Mom's gasp, Dad's low curse, and Erin muttering something sharp. You lied. Dad snapped. You said she could move in. I tilted my head. Though they couldn't see, I said, if it helps Aaron, I don't see why not. I didn't say where. Another pause. Heavier, like the air before a storm. Mom's voice trembled. Young and lost. So what, we're just supposed to figure it out now? I didn't answer. The market buzzed around me, kids chasing balloons. A guitarist strumming near a cider stand, but I was still. Rooted. They'd planned a siege. But the castle was gone. I imagined them standing there. Mom's lipstick smudged. Dad's knuckles white. Erin kicking a duffel bag in her scuffed boots. The tenant probably shut the door. His patience thin, leaving them on a porch that wasn't mine. I'd sold it for $320,000, a number I hadn't shared. A clean break, inked in a lawyer's office off Michigan Avenue. You didn't tell us. Mom hissed, her voice a blade. You never said a word. No. I said, I didn't. I hung up. The click louder than their protests. My phone lit up again, Dad. Then, Aaron. I let it go to voicemail. Each missed call, a brick in a wall I was finally building. I walked to the lakefront. The water lapping at the concrete. Gulls slicing the sky. A woman sold bracelets nearby. Her smile easy. Unburdened. I bought one. A $5 leather band. Slipping it on my wrist. It wasn't about the trinket. It was about choosing something for me. My family thought they'd scripted my surrender. But I'd rewritten the scene. They stood on a stranger's porch, their plans unraveling, while I stood here, 10 miles from their chaos, the city mine in a way they'd never understand. I wasn't hiding, wasn't running. I was free, and they'd just knocked on the wrong door. The lakefront's calm didn't last. I knew they'd find me, their determination a tide pulling them across Chicago's grid. By sunset, I was back in Wicker Park, my 900-square-foot rental glowing under a single lamp. The fire escape rattled as a neighbor climbed down, her laughter mixing with the taco truck's sizzle below. I'd barely set my farmer's market bracelet on the counter when 3 sharp knocks cracked the quiet, clipped, impatient, like a creditor collecting a debt. I peered through the peephole. Mom. Her lipstick faded. Hair frayed, Dad, jaw tight, Aaron, arms crossed, a duffel at her feet. Their SUV idled 50 feet away, boxes stacked in the trunk, as if my door was just another checkpoint. I opened it halfway. The chain lock taut. You found me, I said, voice flat as the lake I'd left behind. Mom's eyes narrowed, her flush deepening. We tried calling. Camilla, we didn't think you'd actually. She faltered, then pushed on. We didn't think you'd be here. Acting like this. Dad stepped forward, his voice rising. You said Erin could move in. Now we're here, 20 miles from home with her things, and you're treating us like strangers. I didn't flinch. Didn't raise my voice. I never said she could move in here. I said it at the old place, which, if you recall, I don't own anymore. Erin shoved past Dad, her cheeks red, not from shame, but fury. This is petty. Camilla, you act like you're above us. But this is cruel. Her voice cracked, but her eyes were dry, calculating. I tilted my head, the chain lock glinting between us. You drove across the city, packed your life, to move into an apartment you didn't confirm I still had. That's not cruelty. That's the assumption. Erin's lips parted, but no words came. Dad's hand landed on her shoulder, his voice edged with warning. Enough, Camilla. We're not leaving. You owe this to your sister. Oh. The word hung like damp laundry, heavy with years of unspoken contracts. Every $100 I'd wired, every 2 a.m. call I'd answered. Every sacrifice they'd tallied but never thanked, it was all there. A ledger I'd never signed. I stepped back, picked up my phone from the counter. "What are you doing?" Mom asked, her voice sharp as a snapped twig. I didn't answer. Just dialed. 3 rings, then a calm voice. 911. "What's your emergency?" I kept my eyes on them, my tone steady as a ledger's bottom line. "I have family members outside my apartment, refusing to leave. They're not on the lease, not invited. I'd like to report trespassing." Aaron's mouth fell open. A silent gasp. Dad swore, low and guttural, his fist clenching. Mom looked like I'd torn a page from her script, her whisper almost pleading. "Camilla, you're calling the police on your family." I held her gaze, unflinching. "I asked you to leave." "You didn't." The dispatcher requested my address. I gave it, my voice clear over the rustle of Erin's duffel as she backed away. "This'll ruin everything." Erin spat, her voice shaking. "What'll people think of you?" I nodded. Slowly. "They'll think I stopped opening my door." 10 minutes later, a Chicago PD patrol car pulled up, its lights cutting through the dusk. The officer, tall, her badge glinting, stepped out, hand near her belt, but relaxed. "Evening," she said, her radio crackling. "We got a call about trespassing." I nodded. "That's me." She glanced at Mom, Dad, and Aaron. "The SUV's trunk still open. Boxes untouched. Ma'am, sir. You need to leave the premises." Dad's voice rose, desperate. "This is our daughter. It's a family matter." The officer's gaze didn't waver. "This is her residence. You're not allowed here without permission." Aaron looked ready to cry or scream, her hands balled into fists. "You'll regret this, Camilla." I met her eyes, calm as the lakefront at dawn. "I've regretted everything until now. This is the first thing I'm sure of." They left, the SUV's tires crunching gravel, Mom's silhouette rigid in the passenger seat. The officer nodded to me, her notepad snapping shut. "Call if they come back." I thanked her, closed the door, and slid the deadbolt home. The silence wasn't empty. It was mine. A space I'd carved from their chaos, across the hall. Mrs. Lopez cracked her door, her eyes soft. "You okay? Honey?" she whispered. I smiled, small but real. "Yeah, I am." The next morning, my phone was a battlefield. 12 missed calls, 5 from Mom, 2 from Dad. The rest from cousins and family friends I hadn't seen since my DePaul graduation. Texts flooded in, sharp as broken glass. "How could you do this to Erin? Your mom's heartbroken. Erin's sleeping in her car, happy now," I scrolled. Each message a pinprick, but none drew blood. Then I found it Mom's Facebook post. Public. 3 paragraphs dripping with heartbreak emojis, paired with a faded photo of Erin in pigtails, clutching a teddy bear. We raised our daughters to care for each other. It began. But one has forgotten what family means. Camilla, so successful, has turned her back when we needed her most. Comments piled up Aunt Linda's shameful, a cousin's sobbing emoji, strangers I'd never met calling me heartless. I sat at my Wicker Park kitchen counter, a $10 IKEA stool creaking under me, and opened my laptop. At 2 a.m., I'd compiled my truth screenshots of bank transfers, $200 for Erin's phone, $3,000 for her DUI lawyer, each a silent scar. I added a scan of my name on her car loan, followed by the collections notice that cost me 100 credit points, and a receipt for the condo sale. $3,000 wired to my account? I typed one line. No hashtags, no flair I didn't abandon my family. I stopped paying their emotional rent. I posted, then shut the laptop, not waiting for likes or replies. I didn't need applause, just the weight off my chest. By evening, my phone glowed again. Mom, Erin, a cousin's number. I didn't read the messages. Didn't need their rhythm of shock, rage, guilt, pleading. I blocked them, one by one, my fingers steady as a pen crossing out a bad debt. I boiled water, steeped chamomile tea, the mug warm in my hands. Steam rising like a promise I'd made to myself. Stepping onto my balcony, I felt the September chill. Soft, not biting. The kind that reminds you you're alive. Chicago's skyline sparkled 3 miles away. Headlights weaving like threads in a tapestry. A dog walker in a puffy coat waved from the sidewalk. I waved back. The gesture small but unbound. Inside. I turned off the lights. Kitchen, living room, hall leaving only the fern's shadow on the wall. Lit by streetlight. No family photos. No echoes of their voices. The silence hummed. A song I'd written without their notes. They were out there, rewriting me as the villain, the cold one, the daughter who'd failed them. Let them. I hadn't come to be loved, only to live. My tea cooled, the city breathed, and for the first time, I was home. In the weeks following that turbulent Saturday, I found myself walking Chicago's streets with a new rhythm, each step lighter, as if I'd shed a coat I'd worn too long. The lesson wasn't immediate, not a lightning bolt, but a slow dawn, rising over the rooftops of Wicker Park. I learned that love doesn't have to be a ledger, balanced by favors or weighed by guilt. For years, I'd believed my worth lay in what I could give: dollars, time, solutions, because that's what my family taught me. Their hands always open, their gratitude always absent. But standing on my balcony that night, the city's pulse syncing with my own, I understood I am enough without being useful. Saying no, locking my door. Choosing silence over their chaos, it wasn't betrayal. It was fidelity to myself. I'd spent decades fearing I'd lose them if I stopped giving. But in their absence, I found space to breathe. To dream of a house maybe 2,000 square feet. With a garden I'd tend alone. The lesson wasn't about cutting ties, but planting roots. Ones that didn't tangle with their expectations. Mrs. Gas Lopez's quiet nod from across the hall. The barista who knew my order. The fern thriving on my windowsill, these were my anchors now. Small but steady, I learned that family isn't owed my sacrifice. It's earned through respect. And mine had spent theirs long ago. Chicago's skyline, glittering 3 miles away, reminded me daily I could build a life that was mine. Not a stage for their scripts.